So welcome everyone. My name is Anita Thompson of Art Venture Workshops. I think at least one of you might be new, so I just want to do a brief introduction. I'm a teaching artist. I teach mostly for libraries, but I do other things as well. But libraries are, I have to say, my favorite. So this evening's program is sponsored by Feasterville Library. And the programs that I do are always recorded if they're on Zoom. So you will receive a recording. You are welcome to share that. You're welcome to do it again. Either one of those. So, and hello, Irina. Welcome. We're just getting started and, oh, perfect. I was gonna say, I'm just gonna mute you because we're recording and you'll receive the recording at some point, maybe tomorrow. So this is the colored pencil Lollipops, and I'm just going to copy in the chat one more time that this is what we need for this evening. It is 5 colors, and I've been asked about the blue. If you do not have sky blue, that's okay because a regular blue will also work. You know, either one. Sky blue is the best, but a regular blue will also work. So let's get started here. And oh, I also just want to remind everybody to have the speaker view on so that you can see this up close. All right, so we're going to start, and we're going to have be using our okay, Debbie's coming on. I'm sorry. I just saw Debbie wrote me on my phone, so she's, I think, popping in. But we're going to start with our pencil, and it's going to be very light. I always draw darker so that you can see it on Zooms. You can also see that I'm using a 5x7 piece of paper. It calls for 8.5 by 11, or you can also use a 5x7. I like to do it a little smaller. I mean, not so much, it's the same size on both pieces of paper, but just because it fits into my camera mode. All right, so we're going to start off with the left heart lollipop here. And again, I just want to remind you to draw lightly. And I'm going to be drawing darker so you can see it. All right, so we're going to start at the top. You want to make sure to leave room for the lollipop sticks. And we'll start with our heart shape. So, oops, okay. So we're going to start with the heart. And when we come to the middle part, we're going to make it a little bit of a, it's not going to be so, what am I trying to say? We're going to make kind of like a U shape. That's what I'm trying to say in the middle there, rather than have it come to a V. And excuse me just a second, I'm just going to copy the Zoom for somebody here. Okay, let's see. Copy. And paste. Okay. All right, so now that we have that done, we're also going to create the stick. I should also mention that you want this heart to be slightly at an angle, which I realize I need to make mine a little more angled. So by that, I mean, you want to think as if the stick itself is going to be angled. So if you want, you can draw the stick first if you feel like that will be helpful. So I'm just erasing my apart just a little bit. Hi, Debbie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just going to copy that for you, Debbie. We just started. Okay. So I just sort of erased my heart a little bit so that I could make it a little more at an angle to the left. I apologize for not saying that in the beginning and starting off with it going straight. So if you need to correct my mistake, please do. And then what you're going to do is draw that stick in the middle. But as you can see, as it's in the heart, you just want to draw two very light lines. Hold on just one second here. There we go. Okay, so this is the stick that is showing through. And I'm going to make this darker so you can see it a little better. Like so. And then we create our stick to go down. And we don't really complete the bottom of it. But you want to kind of bring it down towards the bottom of your paper. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other heart, but this time this heart is going to be going this way. So let's start off with the heart again. We're going to come down a little bit inside the first heart. And maybe about right here is where we want the middle, or actually, let's do the side of the heart first. That's a little easier. So you can see that I'm starting lower, and this heart is a bit bigger than the first one. So I'm going to make it a bit larger. But again, the same shape with in the middle of the two heart sections. It's a U shape rather than it going very straight to a point. And then the same thing with the popsicle part, or oh my goodness, I've been saying popsicle since Monday because my husband was having popsicles and I keep saying popsicle instead of lollipop. So excuse me for for saying that. Oh my goodness. So I have to make my heart a little more slanted again. And there we go. So you can see that it's slanted. I have to clean up my edges here. You can see where the popsicle, oh goodness, the lollipop stick is showing through. There we go. Now, once you have that done, you also want to make sure that the lollipop stick is crossing over the other one or crossing under it. So let me make this just a little darker so that you can see that. There we go. And you should be able to see a little bit of the other lollipop showing through. So you see this here. I'm going to make this darker so you can really see it on Zoom. Just in case it's not showing up as well. It's showing on my screen, but I always want to make sure that everyone can see it. So we're now going to create a little bit of some of the inside of the lollipops. And I'm going to start to go a little bit closer now. So we have some lines around in order to make it look like it's three-dimensional. So I'm pointing to those right now. We're going to come up to the first heart and we're going to create a little bit of a curved line going around, and it stops about right here. So it comes around here and stops, and we'll continue with shading. We're also going to create these little squares of shininess. And you see that in the other heart as well. So we'll be creating those. And when we get to the second heart, we will also be creating a little bit around here. You can see some more lines happening since these are transparent. So let's get started on doing that. Okay, so back to our red heart now. We're going to come up at the top and we're going to create those lines. We're going to start off on the left top of the, round part. We'll continue into the dip and then also continue onto the other top part of the heart. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. Now, we also want to create those little shine squares. And so I've got about 3 of them on the left and one more spot on the right. We're going to continue now onto the pink heart. And we're going to start off again at the top. And in the middle, we're going to add another line with the curve. And this time, this line is going to go all the way around on the left side towards the bottom of the heart. So about like that. We're going to come to the opposite side and we're going to add another curved line, also going down towards the stick. And then finally, we're going to create those shine spots just like we did in the red heart. So if you join me up here at the top of the heart on the left side, the pink one, we're going to create a little bit of a shine location there. And then we have another one. We actually have 2 right there. Now, right now they look a little bit strange because we've used pencil and they're dark. But I wanted to point out to you that those are going to be where we're going to leave the white of the paper. So now we are just about ready to start the coloring. But first, I want you to make sure that your drawing is light enough because colored pencil will, the way that we're going to be using it is we're going to be layering it, and you're still going to be able to see the pencil, but we don't want to see that. So what we want to do now is we want to lighten up our pencil. Now you may have already drawn very light, but just in case, what you want to do is lighten your pencil, and you'll be able to see that mine is almost non-existent at this point as I'm erasing. But that's okay. We're going to be going over it in the proper colored pencils. But it's much easier to erase.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you erase colored pencil? Is that
You can
okay?
erase colored pencil. That's a good question,
I wasn't
Julie.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can absolutely erase colored pencil. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, but it can be erased. And that's why I always start in pencil. Some people do like to start already in the colors of the colored pencil, but I always like to start in pencil and then lightly erase, and so that we have sort of like a map of where to go. But different artists do it different ways. This is just the way I do it. And if you feel in the future you want to, when you hear me say that we're using pencil with colored pencil, if you want to start right in with colored pencil, that's fine too. And you can even ask, if you need a suggestion on what color to start with, I will be happy to absolutely provide that. So just lightening this up. And we are going to, oops, sorry about that. I'm moving my papers all around. We are going to start with red. So if you could grab your red pencil, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with the heart on the left. So as I was saying that basically when we use colored pencil, we want to do light layers, because the final layers are the layers that you want to be a little darker. We don't really get very dark with these. We kind of get like a medium dark. There are ways, I'm sure you've seen colored pencil drawings that, they're very polished, and that's, they're really laying on the color. That's not what we're going to do in this one. We're going to lightly layer. So anyway, let's start with the red. We're going to outline both hearts with the red. So, and the layering that we want to do is what I call in between marker dark and pencil dark. So you don't want it so dark that it is overpowering the rest of the drawing. You just kind of want to retrace it, what you drew, in red. And later on, we will go back and we will make it the proper amount of darkness. But as I mentioned, it's always good to start off light. In colored pencil, in watercolor, it's always a really good idea to start off lightly. So remember, we're going to be outlining the red one, and we're also going to be outlining the pink one for now. This is all part of our plan to have this look a bit realistic. When you're finished that, the other thing we want to do is we want to pick up our black. So we want to put down our red for a little while, or just a second or two. And we're going to also outline our lollipop sticks. And so same thing, we just want to outline those so that we know they're there. And we're only outlining the outside. So basically where it continues, where it connects with the actual candy part. Inside, we're going to be doing that in blue. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're now going to pick up our red colored pencil again. So please put your black aside for now. I know it's sort of back and forth right now. I promise not to do too much of that and make you crazy. But pick up your red, please. And we're now going to go on the inside. We're going to work for right now on the red lollipop. And for now, we're going to outline the lollipop stick inside in red. So you should have something that looks like that. And while we're at it, we'll go and we'll outline the other one as well in the pink lollipop. So let's do that too. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go up top and we're going to outline the lines that we created at the top of the red heart in red. And you're also going to outline those sort of square-like shine parts. You're going to outline those too. So I'll repeat just again, adding the red lines around the top of the heart sections, and then also outlining or creating four sort of squarish squares for the shine parts. Okay. So we're going to get started on the layering. So basically now what we want to do is we're going to lightly color. And by lightly, I should say sort of, you just want enough. So let's see, I'm going to start right here. We're going to start right next to, on either side of the popsicle, oh my gosh, here I go with the popsicle, the lollipop stick. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've just had that on my mind since Monday. So it's a little bit light, sort of like a medium shading, and I'm gonna go even closer so you can see. So once we do that, we're now going to go up top in the top part, and we're going to be creating shading all around this heart. So the shading is going to be within, for right now, it's going to be within these lines that we created, and then we're just going to imagine that there's lines around here. So let's get started with that. And this is sort of a medium shading. So you can see that it's not the lightest, but it's also not the darkest yet. So we're going to shade in that top spot across both of the tops of the heart. And then you're going to continue down, basically almost like you're outlining inside the heart, but you're doing it with shading. And we don't want to shade yet on the lollipop stick. You want to leave that unshaded for just right now, meaning the inside of it. But we'll be getting to the inside pretty soon. So I'm going to show the other one up close, just so you can see. So inside the red here, we have some sort of striping here. Do you see how it's kind of like striped red here, here, and a little bit here? We're going to do that right now. So starting off from the left side of the lollipop stick, we've already shaded. We're now going to shade 2 more times. So join me as I do that. So you're leaving some space in between. And I guess it's safe to say that it's sort of shaded where underneath where the shine spots will be. So now that we've done that, we are now going to shade the rest, but we're going to shade lighter than how we were shading. So what that means is if I start here on the left, you can see I'm going to shade very light in the rest of it for now. So what should look like and when you get to the lollipop stick, you know what, let's just pretend this is a popsicle. Oh my goodness. You're going to shade to the left of the lollipop stick there. You're going to leave on the right side the white of the paper for now. And then you'll continue shading very lightly in the rest of the heart, including the part that is see-through or transparent in the pink heart. So now you should have the red heart that is completely filled in for the most part. This is our first layer. And so we're also now going to continue doing that in the pink heart since it calls for red as well. So join me as we use our red colored pencil in the pink heart. And what we're going to do is we're going to shade on either side of the lollipop stick. See, now that I mentioned that it's a popsicle, I can now say lollipop stick. Isn't that strange? Oh my goodness. So same thing, we're going to shade kind of a medium pressure on either side of the lollipop stick. So that's on the left side and the right side. So just a little bit there. We're going to use the red to now outline those parts that are going to be left white. So right underneath the top parts of the heart, you're going to outline those little squares. And then you're going to do some shading now along the outside of the left side of the heart. And so here's how we're going to do it. There are definite spots of white in this pink one. So as you can see, what we're going to do is we're going to do a light shading of red till we get to about right here. We're going to leave a spot and then you're going to shade more. I know this doesn't look red, but there's red in this. So for now, this is just the first layer. So let's do that. So again, we're going to come to the top part of the heart on the outside. We're going to shade very lightly. You can go a little bit darker when you get inside the heart. On the left side, we're staying on the left side for right now. We're going to stop when we get down to the bottom and leave this spot the white of the paper.
Just a question, are we still using the same red?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. I know it doesn't look red when it's finished, and I promise it won't look red when it's finished. It will look pink. But this is one of the layers. That's the beauty of colored pencils is there's all these colors in it that you don't realize. Um, so that's what we're doing right now. That was a really good question. Thank you. So we're now going to hop on over to the right side, and we're talking about, again, going around the outside of it. Well, kind of like this part. And what we're going to do is we're going to lightly create a line like we did with the pencil, but we're doing it with the red. And it's just in this area. So lightly create that line in red. And then in this section, we're going to create some more striping of color. It's almost like we are making a peppermint stick. So you're going to be skipping spaces with the red. And I'm just pointing to around the spots where we created that. And then right up here on the right, we're going to add a little bit of red. Okay, and so now we're going to put our red down and pick up our orange. And we're going to go back over to the red heart on the left. We're now going to add this as a color. And so it's going to be all throughout this whole heart. We're going to start off on the left side of the lollipop stick. And we're just going to proceed to color in the whole area in orange. Now, we're doing it light enough so that the red can still shine through. So this is just very light. This is just another layer. We will then be going back with red again to make some of the spots that are darker. You're also going to color in the other side of the heart, but leaving the lollipop stick alone for right now. So now it should look like it has a bit of some orange to it. Some orange and red. And when you're ready, you're going to pick up your blue. You also want to make sure that your colored pencils are sharpened to a point It's very helpful to have that with this drawing. So when you're ready, we're going to pick up our blue. And again, very lightly shading. We're going to shade on the left side as if we're outlining the, kind of tracing the lollipop stick with the blue, and then shading a little bit to the left of it. So now you're going to get a little bit of a darkness. Remember that you also still have those squares of non-color. You're going to do the same thing on the right side of the stick. And then you're going to pick up your red. And we're going to start finishing the red heart here with some darker colors, or darker shading, I should say, of the red. So we're going to start off first by going into the middle part, the middle top part, and we're going to start making that darker. So that's how dark we're going to make it. You can re-outline if you need to for right now. And then our final part will be outlining in blue. But you can do some outlining in red of your heart. Now, when it gets to where the other heart is, you want to go a little bit lighter. So for now, we're starting on the right side of the heart. Remember, you also want to do a little bit of tracing in that square because we're going to be coloring around it. So now we're going to pick up the pace of creating the inside of this heart a little bit darker. But not around, or we should be going around the other heart when we get to that section. This should be an even coloring. We will be going darker as we get toward the bottom and against the lollipop stick. But for now, this will be an even coloring on this right side. You should be able to start to now see your lollipops starting to look a little different now. We're going to go over to the left side and we're going to continue with that darker shading up top. Sort of like an outline, but on the inside of the heart. As I mentioned, you can outline the outside of it as well, but you're going to be shading a little bit darker on the outside of the heart, or kind of like outlining it. And that's going to make it look three-dimensional once you add that. And guess what? We're going to do the same thing. So now on the left, remember we have that striping. You're going to make that striping a little bit darker. And you're also going to outline those three shade or unshaded parts, I should say. So you're going to make that striping a little bit darker. And then when you're done with that, you're going to fill in with red to make it a little more even in between that striping. That striping should still look like it's a bit darker, but you do want to make sure to kind of fill that in a little more. You're also finally going to go on top of the lollipop stick and lightly shade almost the whole thing, but leaving a little sliver of white on the right side. Our last two parts for this part is you're now going to outline darkly in red around the entire heart. And you're now going to make it very dark at the top of the heart, all across the heart there. You're going to make a strip of it that's darker red till about right here, till it gets to where the second heart is. We don't want to go through that. And then shading on the left side. And then your final part will now be, we're going to outline in blue. So now you're going to outline the whole heart in blue. And it's going to really make it pop a bit. So outline the whole heart in blue. And then we're going to do some final shading with the blue for some of the darker areas. With that blue, we're going to come up to the top of the heart again. This time we're going to outline in blue. Remember that sort of red part that we did darker? You're going to outline that in blue, just the top part. So see, I'm coming around and then I stop with my outlining. So I'm going to kind of retrace. It goes like this, like that with the blue. And then you're going to shade in the middle here, in between the two kind of heart lumps at the top. And you can also shade on the left side at the bottom. kind of going around the heart on the inside. You'll have a sliver of blue. And I'm pointing to that. That's around here. I add a little bit of blue on the left side in the bottom left. And then I finally go on the lollipop stick, just a little bit in the red part, not the white part. We always want to leave that because that's going to make it look like it is three-dimensional. And then we also go on the right side of the heart at the bottom as well. And around the top. Again, this is on the right side of the heart now. This is with our blue. We'll come back, we'll do the sticks last. So when you're finished with the heart on the left, you're going to pick up your pink for the second heart. We're going to shade inside the second heart. And basically, we're going to start off on the left side of the stick. And you are going to go on the inside of it, again, shading on the left side of the stick in the heart. We're going to go around the top part of the heart like we did in the other one. And we're going to go a little bit darker with our pink. So we're going to get darker with our pink right away. So on the left side, you're going to go inside the other heart, coloring, and then go down toward the white spot and after it. This is all along the outside, but still on the inside of the heart. And this is with your pink. We're now going to go around the other side. So we're talking about, that strip. So starting at the top again, you're going to go darker with your pink, darker shading. We're still, around the top part. And remember, we created that striping over here. You want to go a little bit darker on those pink stripes. So you're just adding a little bit more of some dark shading. But then you're going to fill in between with some light pink shading. We're still staying with the pink. We're now going to go to the back to the left side of the heart. And we're going to fill in this whole section with shading, but it's going to be very light. So very light pink shading in this whole section for now. So you see how light that is? It's very light. Like that. We're still staying on the left side. Sorry about that. Looks like I got a call. We're still staying on the left side, but now we're going on this side and we're going to shade dark with our pink on the bottom part here until, again, we get to the white spot. I know we did it one time, but we're just going to add it one more time, just a little bit. Now we're going to go to the right side here, and we're actually going to create another line of pink. So inside the right side here, we're going to create like another heart shape like this. The reason being is that we're going to be coloring this side in, but we want to add one more sort of like a circle or an oval right here that we're not going to fill in. Now we're going to shade light pink on this side. So filling that whole side except for the oval that we just drew, and also not going past that pink line. Not yet, anyway. We're now going to shade a little bit darker in this upper quadrant of the heart. So now we press on it a little bit darker. And then we're also going to go toward that line that we created, and we're going to shade darker, kind of like in a line toward the edge or toward the stick here. So see how it's a little bit darker here? And then we're going to put our orange, or I'm sorry, we're going to put our pink aside and grab orange. I had orange on the brain. So let's grab our orange. We're going to start on the left side. And in the top portion, kind of the top quadrant here of the heart, we're going to shade some orange. Just kind of right across the top toward the stick. And then you're also going to add that orange right next to the stick there, and a little bit on top of the stick on the left. Because remember, we have that one part that is white on that side. We're going to then add that orange to the right side, and basically the whole right side. You're going to get a little bit darker where the pink is, the darker pink. And we're going to grab our red. So our red, what we're going to do is we're going to outline the heart. The whole thing. And then we're going to outline next to, or I should say, kind of like outline either side of the lollipop sticks. And we're going to shade just a little bit with that red next to the pops. There I go, popsicle sticks. It's been a while. So either side, the lollipop sticks, a little bit of red. And then we're going to get darker with our red. We're going to come down to the bottom part of the heart on the left side and the right side. And we're going to add some red there and some red here. And then we're going to outline around on the right, but very lightly. We're going to outline that in red. And then you're going to shade very lightly in red on top of that striping. So you're still going to have the striping, but you're now going on top of it with some shading. And then you're going to come to the top part and you're going to shade some with the red, not as dark as we did on the other side, but you're going to shade all across the top and you're just going to add, you know, a blush of this red. And that's going to continue until you get to the left side. And you're going to add 2 spots of red toward the bottom. And then you're going to fill in. So this is on the left side. And then you're going to fill in, remember that white spot we kind of had here, just a little bit with your red. Final part we're going to add with the red. We're going to add, make it a little bit darker in the shading where the red and pink heart overlap. And then a little more shading up at the top. We're going to grab our pink for one last time. And we're going to very, very lightly just color in on the left side of each of your white squares. And then finally, You're going to add a slice of pink toward the right side of where you have the red, but you're going to have kind of like a strip of white. I'm going to show that up close. Do you see what I mean? So see how we drew that in so that it was white. So now you're going to go on the other side and you're going to do some shading so that it now looks like it's a white spot. And then you're going to get a little bit darker with your red at the bottom on the right, just like right here. And then on the right side, and in the middle at the top with shading. So the spots with the red are at the bottom here of the heart, the top right curve of the heart, and in the middle of the two curves. And then we're just going to add a little bit of darkness. We're going to go on either side very lightly with the blue, either side of the lollipop sticks, some shading, just a little bit. We're also going to go now on the left side, some light shading of the little square there. The other squares, we're going to outline those in blue. And then we're going to shade in blue on top of the heart, the part where it's sort of the outline of it. You're going to shade all the way around in blue, but you're shading it very lightly. You're just adding another layer. And you can start to kind of outline in blue. So you're going to outline kind of that inner strip of lollipop in blue. You're going to continue that on the other side with the blue. You're going to outline the heart in blue. You know, still on the red, you know how we outlined it first in red. You're going to outline in blue. And there's one dark spot, two dark spots actually, right at the bottom, toward the bottom on the left side of the heart, and then in the middle up top, more towards the left. And then you're going to grab your black pencil. You're going to grab your black pencil, and we're now going to outline either side of the lollipop sticks. On the left side of each lollipop stick, it's going to be a little darker. On the right side, it's going to be a little bit lighter because that's the side that we're going to be having be the lighter side. So both sticks on the left side outline a little bit darker, on the right, just a little bit. You're then going to create two curved lines curving to the right. This is our shadows underneath the popsicle or lollipop. The one at the closest to the heart is going to be a little darker for both hearts. But the way that the shading works is that there's a little spot right underneath the lollipop that is a little darker. So I'm gonna, you see that? It's a little bit darker under here. And you're gonna do the same on the other one because it kind of creates a little bit of a shadow. And then right underneath that shadow is more of like a little bit of a gray. And then you're going to shade very lightly on the left side of the stick. You can go a little bit darker right up against where the stick is, but then you want to go really light so that it fades as you're going away from the left side of the stick. You want to keep the white of the paper. And for one final thing, if you want, you can outline your lollipop hearts in black, just to make them pop a little bit more. My my lollipop stick got a little wonky on this left one. I didn't do it very straight. So I'm going to stop the recording at this point, and let me just write down. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. If I can find it here. Here we are.